I lit the candles at 5. By 6, the stuffing was cooling, the turkey resting. I set out the good china, the wine glasses they'd given me for Christmas years ago. Every plate polished, every fork aligned. I sat down and waited. 7 o'clock came and went. The food began to sink into silence, steam turning to cold air. I dialed my son's number, my hands trembling only from age, not weakness. When she picked up, my daughter-in-law, her voice was sharp with laughter. "We're at a real grandma's house," and the line went dead. I sat there, the candles still burning, the table untouched. I didn't cry, not then. I let the silence soak into me, heavy as wet wool. I wasn't always this woman sitting alone with uneaten food. Once I was the mother who held him through storms, who worked double shifts to keep the lights on, who taught him to ride a bike in a parking lot because we couldn't afford a yard. I was the mother who believed love meant loyalty, who thought blood ran thicker than manipulation. When he married her, I welcomed her with open arms. She smiled wide, said all the right things. I thought she was nervous, that the coldness in her eyes was just shyness. I gave her my recipes, my traditions, the seat at my table. She took it all with a sweet thank you. But over the years, little cracks showed. She'd forget to tell me about birthdays. Plans changed at the last second. I'd hear about gatherings after they happened, see the photos posted online. My son, my grandchildren, all smiles, without me. I told myself not to make waves, not to push him away. But you don't ignore a storm when the windows start to rattle. Thanksgiving was the final test. I noticed weeks before, her texts came short, clipped. My son's voice sounded rehearsed. They said, "We'll be there," but there was no warmth behind it. I set the table anyway. When she laughed into the phone, something broke. Not inside me, but around me. The illusion of family, of belonging. I realized then I wasn't losing them. They had already left. And betrayal, once clear, sharpens the mind. That night I didn't sleep. I washed every untouched dish. I packed leftovers into containers, labeled them, froze them. It was ritual, not waste. Then I went to the drawer where I keep the old photos. There was one, our last full family picture. My son, his wife, the children, all of them grinning, arms looped together. Me, in the corner, smiling too hard, like I was begging to belong. I slid the photo out of its frame. With slow precision, I cut their faces out, one by one. The children's hurt worst. But my hand didn't tremble. I wrote 3 words across the bottom, in red ink. "Remember who raised him." Then I sealed it in an envelope, addressed it, and mailed it first thing the next morning. I didn't call, I didn't explain, I didn't beg for forgiveness. I knew silence would be louder than any speech. By Monday, I got the first call. My son's voice was tight, panicked. "Why would you do this? What does this mean?" I let him speak. I listened to the fear bleeding into his words. Not fear of me, but fear of what I might do next. His wife shouted in the background, her anger high-pitched, frantic. They wanted me unhinged, so they could dismiss me. But I was calm. Too calm. "I cooked for you," I said softly. "I waited. That's all." And I hung up. I knew what that photo would do. It wasn't just paper. It was proof that I saw through them, that I wouldn't play the forgotten fool anymore. At every holiday, that image will haunt them. Every time they look at family pictures, they'll think of the one with faces torn out, the message written in my steady hand. And when their children ask one day why Grandma isn't around, they'll have to choose, lie, or admit they exiled the woman who raised him. That's not my burden anymore. It's theirs. People imagine revenge as fire, shouting, spectacle. But the best revenge is quieter. It seeps in. It lingers. It unsettles. She wanted me erased. Instead, I carved myself into their story in a way they can't remove. I'll be the shadow at every Thanksgiving table, the name unspoken but heavy in the air. I don't need their apology. I don't need their company. All I wanted was the truth uncovered, and now it is. That night, after mailing the photo, I lit the candles again. I plated myself a meal: turkey, stuffing, sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce. I poured a glass of wine and raised it to no one. But it didn't feel lonely. It felt like freedom. Because they thought they had left me behind. They thought I'd sit quietly in the dark. But when they open that envelope, when they see what I left them, they'll understand. I am not forgotten. I am unforgettable.